Welcome back to NBA Cinema. So today I kind of want to talk a little bit about Bronny James as I'm watching this game against the Atlanta Hawks in the Summer League. Bronny has come out 2 for 2, and this is clearly his best start to any game in Summer League. But we're gonna hear from Gilbert Arenas today and also Rich Paul. When talking about Bronny and him getting in the gym, him continuing to figure this thing out, and also how Jaylen Brown started out his Summer League. This is something that Gilbert Arenas brought up in a recent podcast episode that they had. So we're going to look at those two things, and I'll be back to critique it. Let's speak.
And you're committed, good things happen. And you can't really worry about, I saw some of the stuff that came out about Jaylen Brown and things like that. Like you can't take what everybody's opinion and try to turn it against them or think that he's a bad person or the young lady that was accompanying him is a bad person. No, they have opinions. They can say what they want to say. At least he is someone who's actually in the league. And so there's a lot of experts with no expertise. He's actually an expert with expertise. And so if he has that opinion, he can have that opinion. But I know Jaylen, and he doesn't. I know he doesn't mean that with any malice. He's just having a conversation, and it's just the world we live in today. Why would he think somebody would be videoing him saying anything? And so, but Brian's going to keep his head down and continue to work, use things as fuel, but continue to be passionate about the game of basketball because that's a true thing, and it goes for all the guys in summer league, right? We see guys get drafted. We see guys get contracts and then don't ever get another one. The NBA is a roller coaster, and you just got to continue to put the work in every day and get better. And I'm sure Bronny will do that. He'll be committed to do that. And then let's look back on the end of the movie. They don't run the credits at the beginning of the movie. They run it at the end.
Jaylen Brown. Do you know what they said about him in Summer League? He was the third pick in the NBA draft. The third pick in the NBA draft. The first 3 games, just like Bronny was 6 for 26. Jaylen Brown was 5 for 26 from the field in his first 3 games in Summer League. He's fine.
That's a good upside.
He's fine.
That's a good upside.
No one bashed him, and he was the third pick in the NBA draft.
No.
So it's a couple of things there. Rich Paul said all the politically correct things, but they feel some sort of way about Jaylen Brown being caught on camera saying that, and Jaylen Brown going on the internet and saying he's looking forward to Bronny continuing to grow beside his dad. Jaylen Brown didn't expect that conversation to be recorded, and nobody wants to look like a hater in their field. Although people can have critiques about Bronny without being a hater. So you can say that you don't think he's a pro based off of how we saw this thing come together. Nobody else in the college game, a 6'1" guard that averaged 4 points and 2 assists in college would not be drafted, period, much less get a guaranteed contract before playing one game. But that's LeBron James' son, and that's the way it's gonna go. And now he's in the league, he's in the big leagues, and criticism's gonna come with that. Critiques is gonna come with that. So you can't be overly sensitive to it. Now Bron says Bronny doesn't care, and by all accounts so far he doesn't. What I'm gonna say to what Gilbert Arenas said is you can't compare the two. Jaylen Brown not shooting good in summer league, okay, that's fine and dandy. Bronny made one more shot than Jaylen Brown at this point in their summer league careers, but you cannot compare the talents and the way they look on the floor. And I'm pretty sure if you look at some of the other statistical production, Jaylen Brown is probably wearing him out there. I know people were talking about the Sar kid who went number 2, but I mean he had like 3 blocks in that game, 9 boards, some steals and stuff like that. So he impacted the game in other ways. He went 0 for 15, but he definitely impacted the game in other ways. I think the criticism about Bronny and his positioning comes from his father, round 2 pick that signed a guaranteed contract prior, to playing any games. I think that part right there, when he had someone like Boogie Ellis on his college team, you look at so many other players. You look at a 6'1" player or 6 foot player like RJ Davis at North Carolina or something like that. And you look at Bronny, you like, how, didn't a senior like that get an opportunity to be the 55th pick? Because you could put RJ out there, and RJ would be knocking some threes down, and he'd be an aggressive scorer. Don't have the athleticism of Bronny or the defensive talent, at that level of Bronny, but you know, we saw this thing came together. So don't just my thing is don't try to act like it didn't come together the way it did. My whole position is it is what it is, and now we'll see how this thing plays out. But don't act like it wasn't some nepotism in there, and that Bron influence didn't really have nothing to do with it. Like it's just Bronny earned that second round pick. I mean he did what he did. LeBron pulled the strings he had to pull to sign back with the Lakers. I mean, it is what it is. Rich Paul saying don't run the credits right now, run it at the end. We will do that. At the same time, when LeBron James comes out and says things like Bronny is better than some of these dudes in the league, I think that I want to point back to that moment and say that comment specifically is the one that has caused people to be so on this story. People were going to talk about it anyway, but I think fans are just speaking about it that much more because of Bron saying that. It kind of hit a turning point from that point on because you disrespect the whole game. People who've been overseas, the Derek Whites of the league, who started out with what D2, D3, worked his way all the way up to the Colorado level to get drafted. Those type of players who put in all of the work, the Duncan Robinsons coming up, from D3, JUCO guys like Jimmy Butler who didn't have no offers out of high school really, went to a JUCO, went to Marquette, worked his way on up to the league, and became a star that way. Those type of players like that, they earned it, and it's so many of those that probably will never get an opportunity um, that Bronny has gotten that will be better basketball players. That's why I always say the best basketball players, like the top stars, yeah, those guys are in the NBA for the most part. But some of the best players never make the NBA, and it's because of opportunity. Probably had a bad coach, didn't put them in the right positions. Probably made some bad decisions. Um, Probably just overlooked completely. And they were good enough, and when they get to the league, they don't get the opportunity to shine at their full potential because now they've already got X amount of dollars invested in these players, and they can't have a player overshadow them, nor do they want them to show enough for another team to come in and show interest where they have to compete against that player. All these dynamics are at play, whether you want to uh, believe it or not. And someone like Bronny being in the league, I'm hoping the best for the young man because, by all accounts, he's a good young man. I like the way he's answered all his questions and the way he's handled this process. Ever since that one video of him smoking came out years ago, he's kind of been off of social media, not really showing any behavior. He was a young kid at that age. I can't imagine if I had a cell phone at that age and some of the dumb stuff I was doing, what would have been out there. So ever since then, though, Bronny just kind of been chill, playing. And there's this thing that people were saying about his high school All American appearance. That's the first time we kind of saw Bron pull some strings. And I don't even think Bron did that. I think the draw of LeBron James' son having him courtside at the All American game showed that even that's a business. The business has started at probably the middle school level at this point, but definitely at the high school level. And I wanted to say that because he did get that accolade based off of that. And people said that players averaging 14 points don't make the All American game. I disagree with that. And let me put it in its proper context. If you play it like a Montverde, and you have a team like they had with Cade Cunningham, Day'Ron Sharp, Scotty Barnes, those type players, you can be a player on that team and average 14 a game and make the All American game. So I want to be clear on that. Now, if you're talking about a regular high school, you probably can go to a school like Duncanville when they're really good. If you're talking about a public high school, if you go somewhere like Duncanville and average that amount of points, you can make um, the All American game. So I want to be clear, but all 14 of games isn't created equal. So I want to say that too. And so Bronny doing that at a school like Sierra Canyon. Sierra Canyon is a school that if they are loaded that year, you can't average 14 and make the All American game. Although I know that LeBron's influence was on that. And hey, man, it is what it is. So I'm gonna continue watching this game. I may come back and do a report on it. Let me know what you guys think about Gilbert Arenas' comments, though, and Rich Paul. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time. Peace.